Would you tell someone with a mental illness such as OCD or agoraphobia to just stop? Would you tell someone with a traumatic brain injury to just go back to the way they were before? The use of substances such as methamphetamine alter the brain after extended use. Therefore, it's impossible for them to be the same as they were before without some form of treatment. In this speech, I'm going to attempt to persuade you to believe that substance abuse is a disease and a person can overcome addiction. I'm sure you're thinking that drug use is a choice, and I agree with that fact. I agree the first use and early stage continuous use is a choice, and I will not argue that. But let's compare drug addiction to overeating or binging to the point of obesity or heart disease or diabetes. You can't tell that person to just stop eating, and they aren't going to reverse years of food addiction overnight or without professional help. This was also a choice, but these two situations are treated completely different in society. Let me begin my argument by giving you some statistics on drug use in the U.S. According to addictioncenter.com, approximately 21 million Americans have at least one addiction. They also state that from 1999 to 2017, over 700,000 Americans have died from a drug overdose. Specifically, methamphetamine addicts account for 964,000 of those people, and 16,000 of those people are between the ages of 12 and 17. American addiction centers describe methamphetamine as a stimulant drug that can be used by smoking, swallowing, snorting, or injection. Since I've discussed some basic statistics and facts about substance abuse, let me continue by explaining why addiction is considered a disease. The Partnership to End Addiction website tells us that addiction is clinically considered a substance abuse disorder. It is defined as a complex disease of the brain and body that involves compulsive use of one or more substances despite the consequences related to health and social issues. The American Medical Association and the American Society for Addiction Medicine also define addiction as a disease. As I mentioned in my introduction, choice does not determine whether something is a disease. The choice to try a substance isn't the disease. The way the brain changes after using substances is what makes addiction a disease. Now that I've explained why addiction is a disease, I would like to explain how you can help a loved one with their addiction. An article on helpguide.org gives guidance on how to talk to someone about their drug use. You don't have to wait until someone has hit rock bottom. The earlier you talk to them, the better. You should also be honest and listen. Let them feel heard and don't argue or contradict what they are saying. Giving them options for treatment is also suggested, such as helplines, treatment programs, and group meetings. The person will most likely be in denial and become defensive or angry. Don't argue, just revisit the conversation at a later time. The most important thing to remember is that one conversation isn't going to fix the problem, and there isn't a one-size-fits-all recovery solution. An individual can find many recovery resources such as hotlines, emergency departments, mental health facilities, 12-step programs, inpatient or outpatient care, counseling, religious organizations, doctors, or medications. I would like to continue by telling you why this topic is important to me and why I feel so strongly that a person can overcome addiction. My husband is 36 years old. He is a wonderful husband, father, uncle, son, brother, and friend. He has worked for the same company for 11 years and has received many promotions in that time. I cannot praise him enough for the human being he is and how proud I am of him. September 11th, 2021 will be his 12-year sobriety date from methamphetamine use. He used and manufactured the drug for approximately 11 years. He was arrested and spent about 13 months in prison, and once released, he never looked back. Prison served as his rehab and his detox and ultimately saved his life. Once he was released, he realized he missed nearly the entire first year of his youngest daughter's life. He knew he would never go back to that place again. Addiction is a serious issue in the U.S., and so many people are battling with themselves and loved ones in order to overcome this disease. The relapse rate for methamphetamine is 61% within the first year. So it's extremely important for a person to have continued support once they have conquered their addiction. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please reach out to someone for help. It's never too late.